Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome. I just met with and was briefed by our state transportation and emergency response officials on the preparations being made to deal with the winter storm. First, let me say to everyone in New Jersey that this is going to be a significant storm with snowfall today and into tomorrow that will create really hazardous conditions, including dangerous conditions on our roadways. So I have declared a state of emergency in New Jersey, and I've authorized the early closing of government offices and the staggered dismissal of all non-essential state employees beginning at 1 p.m. today. We want to get individuals home and off the roads as quickly as possible because, as you know, the storm will worsen as we get deeper into the day today and into the overnight hours. I want our first responders and our transportation officials to be able to do their work safely, so we want everybody to get home and get off the roads. I've already closed state offices for tomorrow due to the forecast to allow our response and our transportation officials to do their work in an unimpeded way. This is a different kind of storm than we've had before, and it's going to affect our state in different ways. Down in the southernmost part of the state, especially the southeast, we may have accumulations only as much as 6 inches, but we could have as much as 2 feet with blizzard conditions in our northeastern counties, as well as our coastal counties in Monmouth and Ocean and in Middlesex County. The worst conditions will be overnight tonight from 9 o'clock until around noon tomorrow, with lighter snowfall afternoon tomorrow expected until about midnight. Again, this is going to present some very dangerous and difficult conditions on our roadways. There's going to be extremely colder temperatures than we're experiencing right now, and the real potential for blowing and drifting snows, giving the winds. This is the first weather event of this magnitude this season, thank goodness. So I want to make sure everyone in New Jersey knows what steps we're taking to be ready and what we need from them. First, it's our expectation that with state offices and early school dismissals as well, the rush hour is probably going to be early this afternoon. So prepare yourself accordingly. It will not be, I think, the normal rush hour. As you're leaving work, picking up your children from school, getting home, get off the roads as quickly as you can. Obviously, drive safely, drive cautiously. We want you to do that all the time, but particularly now. Road crews are going to be out working to clear and salt the roads, so we need everybody to get through the storm safely. If you do not have to drive, please remain home and remain off the roads. Since yesterday, DOT, Transit, Turnpike, Parkway, South Jersey Transportation Authority have been preparing equipment, putting staff and contractors on alert. It's a full statewide mobilization that's been ordered. We're prepared to clear snow and ice from the roadways and transit facilities in every part of the state, and we believe we have the manpower to be able to do so. NJDOT, the Turnpike, Parkway, and South Jersey Transportation Authority have nearly 3,700 trucks ready to roll. They started spreading salt on the roads yesterday and continue to do so as conditions warrant. DOT is working with the state police to have tow trucks available to help clear disabled vehicles more quickly. In addition, DOT's safety service patrols will be out there to help travelers and vehicles in distress. New Jersey Transit, of course, has equipped locomotives with plows and has tested and readied 750 switch heaters to allow trains to access all tracks and perform all usual movements. Obviously, our top priority is passenger safety. Anyone planning to travel during the storm is urged to allow extra time, be extremely careful traveling in and around stations and on platforms and onboard trains, buses, light rail vehicles, and our access link vehicles. Transit plans to operate a regular weekday schedule today through Wednesday, and cross-honoring obviously is in effect. Due to the predicted severity of the storm, we're going to have some shutdowns. We'll probably start shutting down transit at about 10 o'clock tonight, and I don't expect that we'll have transit tomorrow. But again, it's as conditions warrant as we go forward. Customers are advised to regularly check njtransit.com for the latest service information. Residents should be prepared for potential power outages, mostly due to the high wind conditions. BPU President Moroz has been on conference calls with all of the power and utility companies and their leadership. They have begun to assemble essential personnel and additional crews here in New Jersey to be ready to respond to outages as they come forward. Residents should prepare themselves, though, as usual, for the possible outages, including supplies of water, non-perishable food items, personal hygiene items, cold weather clothing and supplies, a cell phone, etc. And from all the reports I've seen, you all seem to have been to the supermarket in the last 24 hours. And I don't know why the rush on bread, but what the heck. If you want more bread, I'm sure you're able to get it. If you have a member of your family that's dependent upon medications or electric-powered health equipment, make sure you have a plan in place as a backup to assist them. If your power does go out, your first contact should be to the power company so you're identified as an outage and they can work to restore your service as quickly as possible. BPU is also activating its storm cloud reporting system for power companies to collect outages and other information. BPU is posting on its website links to the utilities' storm web pages for reporting of outages and obtaining outage information. We expect many schools to be closing early today and many schools to be closed tomorrow due to the weather. As always in these situations, you should check with your local school districts, watch TV for specific times on early dismissals today, and for your district's plan for tomorrow's school day regarding closure. The overall message is this, everybody. We've been through this plenty of times before. I was at a hockey game yesterday in Bayonne of my son Patrick's, and had a resident of Bayonne come to me and said, "Are you worried about the storm?" And I said, "This is my 6th winter as governor. I've had double-digit states of emergency imposed for snow. We've had Hurricane Irene, we've had Hurricane Sandy. For better or for worse, we know how to deal with these situations. And I feel completely confident that the folks behind me and all the people that work for them are prepared. But you never know how bad these conditions are going to be. Here's one thing we know for sure. Starting later this afternoon, you should stay home if you can. You should only go out in the case of an absolute emergency or necessity. And the same goes for all day tomorrow. We do not need people on the roadways. It makes it much more difficult for us to do our job. And if we get anywhere between 18 and 24 inches of snow, that's a lot of snow to move, to make roadways passable and safe. We would like to make Wednesday productive for everybody. And the only way for us to make Wednesday productive is for you to give us the opportunity to do our job on Tuesday and this evening. So please stay off the roads. It's not only for your own safety, it's for the operation of the state, for us to be able to have the state be as fully operational as we can be on Wednesday and for the rest of the week. You should feel confident that myself and the Lieutenant Governor are engaged with all of the leadership throughout state and local government. OEMs throughout every town in New Jersey have been engaged with by the BPU and by DOT and all of the other leadership that we have. The Emergency Operations Center is activated by the state police and was activated last night to exchange information. So we all feel like we know how to do this. This is going to be a lot of snow, no matter how you add it up, and so we're going to be challenged, but we feel like we're prepared and we're ready. And if you all stay home and help, that'll make things significantly safer for you and your family, and significantly easier for the men and women who are going to be working hard to try to restore New Jersey to normalcy after the storm is over. So I thank all of you for your time, and I can take a few questions. Or not. Fabulous, no questions. Yes?
There may be more snow up north than down south. How does that affect the planning? Is it affecting the planning right now?
Sure, because we're aware of it, David, and so we'll have more of our equipment available in the places where we expect the largest accumulations of snow. And so it definitely affects us, and obviously we have to continue because this storm is an offshore event that can change rather rapidly. So we're having regular conference calls every few hours with the National Weather Service, with our leadership, to make sure that we have the best information we can have. That's the best information we have right now, and we'll certainly respond accordingly with our allocation of resources.
Right now, is the biggest concern snow accumulations, or is it?
It's snow and wind, because the combination of winds that could go as high as 50 to 60 miles an hour creates no visibility, first off, for people who are out there. So for our crews, who have to be out there working, that's a really difficult circumstance. And the drifting, blowing and drifting of snow in terms of moving it and keeping it off the roadways is also a real challenge. So it's not just the level of snow, but it's also the wind, and then that wind also plays into the power outage situation. It's not supposed to be a heavy wet snow, so we shouldn't have those problems as we've had before, but because of the winds, it may affect power outages much more significantly than the snow might. Here. Commissioner Martin has been in touch with, and they're doing inspections of all of those different shore areas now to see how they're prepared from a beach perspective, and I'll be talking to the Commissioner again later on today to get a report on that. But obviously we have because of the winds in particular, we have a potential for some flooding situations in Monmouth and Ocean County. So we're not only concerned about snow down there, but we're also concerned about flooding Monmouth, Ocean, and the Bay Shore in Middlesex. So the Commissioner is in the process, along with his staff, of reviewing all that, and we're obviously concerned about it, and we may have more to say later about that after I get the results of his inspection. Well, listen, first off, we're asking everybody not to drive unless you have to, so that, you know, the folks behind me can do their jobs. But we'll make those decisions as time goes on. You know, we work very hard here not to close the New Jersey Turnpike because of its the nature is such an important part of the north-south artery here in this country. So, you know, folks at New Jersey Turnpike Authority and DOT are going to work very hard to make sure we don't have to do that. But if conditions warrant, we think are dangerous enough, they'll bring to me the idea of closing certain roadways, and I'll make those decisions based upon the information we get, based on the conditions at the time. So it's not off the table, but we're not doing that proactively right now. Well, what will happen is around 10 o'clock tonight, when we believe we'll have everybody who's at work today home, we're going to close down the service on NJ Transit. It's just, given what they're telling us, that overnight you could have 2 to 4 inches an hour. It just doesn't make sense for us to be running those transit trains and buses in that way. So we've made the decision to close down NJ Transit at 10 o'clock, and we'll see how the storm goes from there as to when we will reopen and restart. But I think by 10 o'clock tonight, we should have everybody, given all the advance warning we've had, everybody who has been working home. And once we do that, then you know, we want to make sure we close it down so that we can get it reopened as quickly as we possibly can. Well, it says that there are a group of people who want to be supportive of me continuing to look at the problems in the country, and so I'm happy that they want to do that. I'm honored that they've asked me to be the honorary chair of it, and it'll proceed as it proceeds, and we'll see. But you know, nothing more than that. Yes. Why wouldn't I be? Thank you. Other questions? All right, good. Yes, sir. You could, you know, Matt, you can call the PAC and ask them what their plans are. Any other questions? No, it's apparently the opening of a federal PAC to help us continue to look at the problems in the country as explained on the PAC. So you certainly don't expect me to say anything different than what's on the website of the PAC, which I'm sure, Matt, you've already looked at. So this is a pretty serious day today, and while I understand the interest regarding a federal fundraising committee that I've opened, and that's why I'm happy to answer a couple of those questions, the more important issue of the day today is the health and safety of the people of New Jersey, and our efforts to make sure that we continue to keep our state as safe as possible while we're enduring a pretty difficult storm. So again, I want to say to folks, please get home this afternoon. Please stay home this afternoon, this evening, and tomorrow. Let's let this storm go through, pass, do what it needs to do, and then we'll be ready, as we've been doing and before, and we're doing now, and we'll continue through the storm as conditions allow, to try to make it as productive a Wednesday for everybody as we possibly can. So I appreciate all of you being here today and conveying the news to folks. Please have yourselves prepared, keep your families warm, have all the things you need in your home to have you prepared, because once tonight comes, it's going to be kind of hard to get around and ill-advised to get around. So you need to go to the supermarket, you need to go to the pharmacy, you need to get things that you're going to have for the next couple of days. Please go and get them now if you haven't gotten them already, and let's get hunkered down, go through the storm. You know, we're tough in this state. We've been through plenty of things before, so have I, and we'll be ready to deal with all of this. So thank you all of you for coming today. We'll see you, and I'm sure we'll have more stuff to say to you as the hours march on in the next couple of days.